Did you know that up to 1 billion children globally, yes, 1 billion, experience physical, sexual, or emotional abuse or neglect every year? And while abuse happens everywhere, the rates are staggeringly high in certain countries. For example, in Papua New Guinea, nearly half of all rape victims are under 15 years old. In Australia, there are 160 child exploitation reports filed every single day. Abuse doesn't just happen somewhere else, it happens everywhere. If you've ever felt trapped in an abusive home, you're not alone, and there is a way out. Today, I'll share how you can recognize the signs, build a plan, and escape for good. Hi everyone, my name is Mike, and today we're talking about one of the hardest yet most important topics: escaping abusive parents. This is a reality for millions of children worldwide, including me. Abuse doesn't discriminate. It crosses borders, cultures, and socio-economic lines. Whether you're in the United States, Australia, or New Zealand, the statistics are shocking. But what's even more heartbreaking is that so many people feel stuck, believing there's no way out. I'm here to tell you there is. Let's talk about how to break free, reclaim your life, and build a future where you feel safe and valued. Living with abusive parents is like being trapped in an endless storm. You never know when lightning will strike, and you're constantly trying to shield yourself from the rain. But the storm never lets up. The fear, the isolation, the helplessness, it consumes you. And sadly, this isn't just my story, it's the reality for millions of children around the world. In the United States alone, 1 in 7 children experiences some form of abuse or neglect each year. In New Zealand, decades of inquiry revealed that over 200,000 children and vulnerable adults were abused in state and religious care. In Papua New Guinea, nearly 13% of child rape victims are under the age of 7. These aren't just numbers, they're lives. And they're stories like yours and mine. But here's the worst part. Abuse often doesn't look like the stereotypical movie version. It can be emotional manipulation, like constant criticism that makes you feel worthless. It can be neglect, like being left to fend for yourself when you're just a child. And because these forms of abuse are harder to see, they're easier to dismiss. That makes escaping even harder, because who will believe you? The first step to escaping is recognizing that what you're experiencing is abuse. Abuse isn't just about physical scars. It's about control, fear, and the erosion of your self-worth. It's the way you feel like you're walking on eggshells, the way you doubt yourself, and the way you've been made to believe this is normal. Let me be clear, it's not. Once you recognize the abuse, the next step is to build a support system. This can include friends, extended family, school counselors, or professional resources like hotlines. If you're in immediate danger, you need to prioritize safety. Find someone you can trust and start talking to them. In the United States, there's the National Child Abuse Hotline. In Australia, there's Kids Helpline, and similar services exist in the UK, Canada, and New Zealand. Creating a safety plan is essential. This might mean gathering important documents like IDs or bank information and packing an emergency bag with essentials. Think about where you can go: a trusted friend's house, a shelter, or a community centre. The hardest step is often the first, but every step forward is a step towards freedom. If you're financially dependent on your parents, start looking for ways to build independence. Part-time jobs, scholarships, or local community programs can be lifelines. And remember, abuse thrives in silence. So breaking that silence is one of the most powerful things you can do. I want to share the story of a young man I'll call Ben. Ben grew up in Australia, where his father's emotional abuse left him feeling worthless. His mother turned a blind eye, making him feel even more isolated. At 16, Ben reached out to a school counsellor, terrified of being judged. But instead of judgment, he found help. His counsellor connected him to a local program that helped him access housing, finish school, and eventually go to university. Today, Ben is thriving. He's living proof that even in the darkest of moments, there's a way forward. Ben's story reminds us that escaping abuse isn't just about leaving. It's about rebuilding. It's about finding your voice, your strength, and your worth. And while it's not easy, it's possible. Escaping abusive parents is one of the hardest things you'll ever do, but it's also one of the most courageous. It's not just about walking out the door. It's about reclaiming your life and your sense of self. It's about breaking the cycle, not just for you, but for the next generation. And most importantly, it's about remembering that you are not alone. No matter where you are, in the United States, the UK, Australia, or anywhere else, there are people who care, who want to help, and who believe you. You are not defined by what you've endured. You are defined by your strength to rise above it. If this resonates with you, or if you're currently in an abusive situation, I want to hear from you. Share your story in the comments or message me privately if that feels safer. Your voice matters, and your story could inspire someone else to take the first step. Together we can create a community of hope, resilience, and healing.